Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow Up Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Hello, happy Monday. If you are listening to this on a Monday, I am so excited to be here, okay? You know why? Because I'm about to give you the best confidence tips that you are going to bring into this summer, okay? Because what we are not doing is wasting our potential this summer. We need to have a hot, a confident, and a healed girl summer, okay? This is not just hot girl summer. Listen, you know what I always think about when I think about hot girl summer? I think about city girl summer, which is different, okay? Hot girl summer just means like you're the it girl, but you're not doing some crazy things. But I'm not going to judge if you do some crazy things. But over here, we are not going to do crazy things. We're going to do great things that help our confidence. So I kind of wanted to make this episode essentially just like rules for hot girl summer, things that you can think of, mindset shifts that you can make, and maybe just an episode you can come back to if you really need a little bit of a confidence boost. These are things that I currently live by, will continue to live by, and I've also just picked these up over the years that have really helped me not only learn to love myself, not care so much about other people, not get so wrapped up in what other people think about me, but also just go for my dreams. And what I want for you guys, and even myself, because you guys know I'm on this journey, is I want you to be able to look back this summer and be like, I lived up to my full potential. I really did X, Y, and Z. I am proud of myself. And we kind of talked about this a few episodes ago, but I feel like it's time to really go a little bit deeper in the mindset shifts and work. So I'm going to list out a few things that I think are really important to live by. Like I said, this summer, I have a lot of quotes and a lot of things. So who knows? I'll probably go on a million tangents. We already know that. I actually want to bring it back to something. The other day I was on TikTok and I saw a video. There was like a radio show host and she was interviewing Bryson Tiller, which, by the way, I went to go see him in concert a few weeks ago. It was elite. I love concerts, especially like R&B rappers or R&B singers. And she was asking him something about, were you proud of yourself in your 20s? Because I don't know how old he is now. He's not in his 20s, but she was like, are you proud of what you've accomplished? And his album Trap Soul, which is probably what you know him from, came out in his 20s. And he answered that question and he was like, honestly, I'm really disappointed in myself. And she was kind of like, why? Like, what's going on? And he's like, I feel like I wasted about a solid 6 years of my 20s really not backing myself. He was saying how he just really let people get in his head about his album. When he came out with that album, he got bad reviews. There were people saying that they were disappointed in the album. They're just, there was backlash, as there is with everything, right? Like everyone always has opinions on things. And he let that really not allow him to fully uplift that album and allow him to feel proud of himself. And it took him a very, very long time before he could really look at that album and say, that's actually great. And it's crazy because so many of us look at that album and we're like, it is fire. Like there's literally not one song that's not a banger. But he's just saying like, I'm disappointed because it took me so long. And he was saying, I just wish that I knew my worth and my value essentially before that album came out, but unfortunately I didn't. Obviously that's a learning journey for him, but I can even think about sometimes in my life where, I put out something or I tried to do something from a place of not really having that confidence within me. And it's no wonder I let other people's opinions really break me down until I obviously had to work through that. And I came out on the other side because obviously that's what we do. That's what I do. We always do that, but we can save ourselves a lot of just bullshit and just like all of these limiting beliefs that are not even true about ourselves if we really build that confidence within ourselves before going to do something. And I think that's what I'm always working on. It's a learning curve, a learning journey, but I think that's something I'm going to be focusing on this summer. and I hope you guys can too. Just like thinking about, a new project that you want to start or a new relationship that you want to get in, even if you're in one right now or you're doing something right now, how great would that relationship or how great would that outcome be if you had a little bit more confidence within yourself, if you backed yourself more? And I feel like sometimes we're just waiting for the end result to make us feel something, but that is not how it's going to be. We can wait for the reviews, but what if the reviews aren't good? What if the thing that we hoped to work out didn't work out? We're going to be 100% more crushed than we would if we had some sort of confidence within ourselves. And I feel like we live in a world where there are so many opinions. There's so many things changing and, moving and shaping our lives that we have to have some sort of resilience as we move through this world, especially if we want the things that we want in our lives. And there's going to be a lot of tests. There's going to be a lot of things that are thrown at us, and we cannot back down. And how we not back down is obviously knowing our worth. And I think the first thing really is the rule for summer. Number one is remembering who you are. And I feel like there are so many things that make us not remember who we are. Right? We forget who we are when we go through a breakup. We forget who we are when things don't pan out a certain way. We forget the truth of who we are when we go out in the world and somebody or something triggers this old wound, right? But I think that having a practice every single day of reminding yourself of who you are, what you came here to do, even if you don't fully know that yet, but just pouring into yourself every single day is so crucial. This is even crucial on the days that you are feeling on top of the world. I think I said this in my previous vlog that I just posted on my YouTube channel, my main channel. I was saying we do a lot of journal work, we do a lot of self-development work, we do a lot of things when we're feeling good, when we're motivated, which is great. But obviously, even on the times that we're not, we should be doing that journal, that, therapy, whatever it is that's really going to help us thrive and remember who we are. So I just think that this summer, if you can cultivate a practice of remembering, it is so helpful. And there's many things that can help you remember. Maybe it's you moving around certain people that are really just a reflection of who you're trying to become or who you want to keep remembering yourself to be. Maybe it's a journal practice, like I said. Maybe it is listening to certain podcasts but not listening to others, or consuming this type of content but just putting that content over there. Like whatever it is that you have to do to remember who you are, you need to do it, because if not, the world will tell you who you are. And I promise you, I have gotten so caught up on that in so many seasons of my life. And usually I get caught up on that during the times where I've fallen back on my practices, even when I'm feeling good. Because sometimes you just fall off of your practices when you're feeling good as well, because you're like, oh, I don't need it. I don't need my journal practice. And listen, we don't have to be these perfectionists and like every single day we have to, always be working on ourselves. But I really do think, especially if you don't have inner conversations that are very positive in your mind running on autopilot, it's very, very good to have this saturation process. So just thinking, if you're in a season of your life right now where you've kind of forgot who the F you are, this is a good time for you to have a journal practice, morning, night, getting in that zone again. Okay, the next thing that I need you guys, and when I say you guys, just know I'm putting myself in that category always, okay? But I'm talking to you guys today. I need you guys to start falling madly in love with yourselves, okay? This is not going to be the summer where we wish we had that body, or we wish that we were that girl over there. Oh, I didn't hit my goals, or maybe it's going to be next summer, or no. Whatever insecurity you have, whatever thing you need to work on, this is going to be the summer that you're going to do it, because you are not going to waste another moment waiting and wasting your potential on the person that you could be right now. Okay. And I want to read this quote, or not actually. There's a few quotes that I want to read, but it's not actually a quote. It should be really a quote, but it's a comment that was left on one of my YouTube shorts. And the YouTube short, it like blew up, okay? And a lot of people don't understand that I was answering a question that somebody had asked. Somebody said, what's your advice on what to do when you feel ugly around pretty girls? And I like gave some advice, and some people were loving the advice, some people were hating it, whatever. But there's some people who really shared their experiences, and one of them, I literally screenshotted this and put it on my stories because it was amazing. So I want to read it out to you guys because I think this will really help. It even helped me, and then we will go from there. So she said, I have a friend that is so physically perfect. It low-key used to make me insecure to go out with her. I loved her and admired her and was so happy for her, but I definitely always felt I was the least attractive one. She has the prettiest, longest curly hair. She is a few inches taller than me. She has perfect skin, perfect teeth, perfect smile and eyes, an hourglass figure that looked amazing in everything. Men would literally stop her in her tracks everywhere we went and just try to talk to her. And I would just awkwardly stand around, LOL. One day, a couple years ago, I admitted how I felt. I told her I didn't think I was ugly, but she was just so beautiful that I felt mentally small next to her. And her response was, no effing way, because I'm not gonna lie, I get jealous of you. You're so petite and angelic looking. I wish I could pull off all the clothes you wear. Your hair is so shiny and pretty. You have the prettiest shade of green, blue eyes, your perfect lips. All the guys or all my guy friends think that you're beautiful, adorable, but also sexy. And then just rambled off a list of her flaws and telling me why she thinks I'm way prettier than she is. My point is that this was a turning point for me. Everyone that I've ever been jealous of has probably felt the way that I felt at one point in their life. Everybody has their insecurities, big or small, but hardly anybody notices them, and it's usually just them dealing with their own shit. I would have never looked at my friend as anything less than perfect, but she didn't feel that way. I never used to look at myself as perfect, but that's how she even saw me. Envy is a devil. It sounds cliche, but I swear everyone is so beautiful in their own way. If we all looked the same, the world would be so boring, which is so true. If you think about it, like if you're trying to be somebody that you're not and you think that everyone would want to be them too, like we would all look the same and we would be so boring and we wouldn't want to look like that person. She goes on to say, differences is what makes us unique. Learning to recognize that someone else may be pretty, but so are you. And learning to love every inch of yourself is the key to a lifelong state of confidence, which that's really just it. Like my question almost comes to you guys, if you're struggling with this right now, is like, when do you think it's going to be that you decide to accept yourself? Like, when is that going to happen? Yes, you can change and you can glow up and you can have a physical glow up. You can have a mental, like you can change, but aren't you tired of every single year, every summer, every season, just being like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And I know the struggle. Even actually, it's funny because the other day, one of my followers screenshotted a little Pinterest thing where somebody had said like all the girlies who talk about glowing up on YouTube, you should go follow them. And some of the girls in the comments were like, oh my God, I love these YouTubers. I was one of them. And one of the girls was like, I like these guides, but I just wish that the people on these lists would be girls who are not pretty and rich or whatever, or like have it easy. And obviously she doesn't know my story. Yes, okay, a lot of people might think that I'm pretty, but there were so many times in my life where I literally hated myself. I hated every inch of myself. I did not think that I was pretty at all. I struggled with health issues. I really struggled with loving myself. I lived for the version of me that I was not, and I would not live my life until I became her, which was never a thing. And also, I didn't grow up rich. But what I learned on my journey was when I started to realize that like it was just so time consuming and it took so much energy to hate myself, and honestly I'd rather just learn to accept the things that I either can't change about myself or let me just learn on the journey of changing. That not only freed me, but that was the key to even glowing up and changing, because when I accepted myself on a journey, I was able to stay consistent with healthy habits. I was able to get out in the world and build confidence by going out and, just having conversations with people and, dating around and making friends, and all of those things build confidence. You showing up for yourself and even going to the gym and taking care of yourself, self-care, all those things, of course, they're going to allow you to glow up. But when you're such a perfectionist and you're so hard on yourself, what do? you go into a cycle. You do something for like 3 days and then you fall off and you go over and over. So obviously you're not going to really have that glow up. So the way I became the version of me that I really wanted was first accepting who I was and knowing it into being that I could be that girl and just loving myself through the process. And oh my God, did my life ever get so much better? And on top of that, everything changed so quickly. I was like working upstream to try to get to my dream body, my, I don't know, dream face, my dream hair, my dream life, so much. And I was working so hard because the working so hard came from hating myself in the process. And when I started to learn to love myself on that process, it took no time at all for me to get on healthy habits and whatever. But I was in those cycles for a long time. And I talk about it in my book, The Ultimate Glow Up Guide, if you guys are new. And if you want my book, it'll be linked down below. So I just really want you to focus this summer on learning to accept. And this, you're not going to be perfect. And by the way, learning to accept the things about you does not mean you can't change. But I'm telling you, loving yourself through a process of glowing up will be so much easier than you self-hating through the whole entire thing. I want you to focus on learning to fall madly in love with yourself, okay? The things that you have been nagging yourself about, the way that your body looks, the way that your hair is not yet, the way that your bank account is not yet, the way that you haven't hit your goals, whatever it is. I want you to fall madly in love with all of the things that you have been so used to hating. I want you to try it. If anything, just let this be an experiment. Try it out for the summer, and then you can go back to hating yourself. You will not do it. You trust me, I promise you, you will not. And in that process, you will find you will absolutely flourish. And I think a few tips when it comes to falling madly in love with yourself is to recognize when you do checking behaviors in the form of checking to see if people like you or waiting for people to validate you. Like, I see a lot of people in comment sections in real life. You know, there's some friends. I have a lot of confident friends, and it's no shade. I've said this even in last week's episode, I believe. It's no shade to the ones who need that validation. I think that everyone needs validation, you know, at some point in their lives. But at the end of the day, if you really struggle with loving yourself, this is going to be so important that you stop asking people if you're good enough. If you keep asking people if you are good enough, you will be asking until the day you die. Because this is the thing. Even if people continue to validate you and say, oh my God, you're amazing. Oh my God, you're beautiful. Oh my God, this photo is great, or that thing is great, or you should do this, da 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 da. You will never learn how to do it yourself. So when these people are void, what's going to happen? You're going to look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I'm nothing until I have these people tell me that I'm something. You don't want to do that. You do not want to be on this emotional roller coaster in life. And I definitely was on that in my life, you know, just relying on external validation, either, you know, like social media or men or whatever. So, you know, it comes a point where you just have to decide you are good enough. Decide that photo looks good. Decide you don't need to edit it. Decide that you're going to go for your dreams even if nobody validates you. Decide that you're going to, you know, be successful even if nobody's supporting you or nobody's texting you and being like, oh my God, that's great, or nobody's liking your shit. Who cares? You have to be the one to decide that you are good enough. I promise you, it is the single best thing that you could do in your entire life is to decide that you are good enough. And what happens when you decide that you are good enough, you will see it reflected in your life. It doesn't happen the other way around. And even if it happens the other way around, because, you know, maybe there are people who say, oh, you're great, this, that, you're not going to believe it. You're probably someone that doesn't believe it. I know many people who I have validated through many years of my life who still to this day can't validate themselves, and they don't actually fully believe it deep down to their core. And when I recognized that I was doing that, when I realized even when people validate me, I feel good for a second and then it goes away. I realized no more. I don't want that. I want to be the source of my own happiness, and everything else is a cherry on top. You like my photo? Great. But guess what? I already like it, so I'm good. I didn't need you to like that photo. I didn't need you to tell me that I'm great, because I have decided that I am great. Let me read a quote from Pinterest when it comes to your intuition. And I think that this really correlates with deciding that you're good enough, and then we'll move on to the next one. So it says, if you have a feeling that's telling you to do something, but you're seeking a sign outside of you to confirm this intuitive feeling, the intuitive feeling is the sign. You're not looking for a sign. You're looking for courage to follow your intuition. That's really, like, when I read that, I was like, no, honestly, like, that's true. When you're looking for a sign, you already have that intuitive hit. And now you're going to go out and you're going to look and see if somebody is going to, no, decide that your intuition or that feeling is correct. And the way that you do that, the way that you trust yourself is first by understanding that wherever your intuition is leading, wherever you go in your life, you're going to be fine. I think the reason why sometimes we're so afraid to follow that intuition is because, well, what if that results in disappointment or something not really working out? The issue that you're having is you have not learned how to be with yourself in that emotion, that feeling. You don't know how to be comfortable with disappointment if it happens. You don't know how to be comfortable with that fear or that scarcity or what am I going to do? So get good at, yes, sometimes being disappointed and understanding that is a part of life. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to affirm it into your life, but yes, there's disappointing things in life. Are you going to be okay? Yes, you are. Maybe there's a part of you, that young part of you, that don't feel like you're going to be okay. Why? Because you probably didn't learn how to be with that emotion. Maybe there wasn't somebody that was there with you or taught you how to be with that disappointment, or it happens so frequently that you're just protecting yourself. But the best thing that I did for myself was learn how to not be afraid of these lower negative emotions and understand that's just a normal part of the human experience, and hold yourself in that emotion when it does come. It's going to come, inevitably is going to come. The question is really not like, how do I avoid the emotion? The question is more, how do I support myself and hold myself as I'm feeling this deep emotion, which you never learned how to do. So don't try to move through life with walls up, trying to never, experience that thing. Trust me, your lesson will end up being you having to go through that or experience that emotion. That's what you'll end up finding in your life. So you might as well just not be so afraid. I know it's easier said than done, but when I find that I am doing behaviors to avoid that feeling, I actually dive deeper in that feeling. And what I do when it comes to diving deeper in that feeling is I'm actually just standing with my inner child that's afraid to feel that emotion, because that's really what it is. It's your young child part that maybe didn't have somebody hold her hand through that feeling of, loss or grief or sadness or scared. I don't know what to do, and you're becoming that adult self with your inner child in that moment and being like, we've got this. If this goes astray, this doesn't go the way we really want it, it is okay. I am going to be there for you. I am here with you. That is the best thing that you could do for yourself. Bringing it back to trusting your intuition, I do find when you stop fearing those lower emotions, negative emotions, if you will, or that experience of what maybe won't pan out, I tend to find, at least with me, I have way more confidence in trusting that intuition, because I'm like, I'm going to be good either way. My intuition is not going to lead me astray because I'm going to be fine. And I think that that's how you really build a lot of confidence in your life, is not looking outside of you with a sign of like, oh, you should do this or that. No, you're going to be led right back to yourself. So you might as well learn that lesson now. The next thing that we are going to be doing this summer is not waiting for life to just happen, and instead decide what gets to happen in your life and declare it and say no to everything and anything that is not in alignment to what it is that you're wanting in your life. This is not going to be the summer that we're being passive, okay? And are there seasons of our lives where we are kind of passive because we don't really know, where to go? We don't really maybe trust ourselves in yes. But this is not going to be it, okay? This is not going to be the summer. If you want your dream life, if you want the life on your Pinterest board, or you see someone else over there who has this life, or you're listening to a podcast and you're being motivated, I need you to declare it. I need you to know it into being. I need you to go exactly right to it. And that's it. There's got to be a point where you realize, like, the only way you're going to get this dream life or the things that you want in your life is going to be up to you and your actions, really aligned actions. So this is the summer, at least for me. I'll kind of give you some examples. I've been talking about this a lot in my podcast, actually, and even on my vlog channel. This is another thing that I'm doing this summer is like, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I should have done more. I could have done more. I could have, worked more in a way. So what I have been doing is getting very clear on what I want my life to look like in the next 5 to 10 years. Listen, there's always room to move around. I'm a very flexible, cyclical being, but for the most part, I know what I want, okay? We know what we freaking want in our lives, in our dream life, essentially. So I'm getting very clear on what it is that I want my life to look like. I'm getting clear on my goals. I'm getting clear on my business. I'm getting so incredibly clear with my vision, and I am hyper focusing on that. I'm not obsessing, because I'm going to talk about attachment and letting things be what they need to be, but I'm getting very clear and real with myself about what I want in my life, and I am going tunnel vision in that direction, and I am going D&D mode, and I am committing to this life, and I'm declaring it, and I am knowing it into being until it becomes. When it comes to manifestation, and if you don't really believe in manifestation or this, that, whatever, you're manifesting everything all the time. When you hit goals, you're manifesting, okay? So we don't need to make this this big thing if we don't want to. But at the end of the day, when you are wanting something to be a reality for you, aka your dream life, whatever your goals are, your current reality right now it's not normalizing your current reality is what I should say. So if you want, let's say, to become a YouTuber or a podcaster of a certain caliber, you're gonna need to drive that home and have tunnel vision in that, mirror or whatever, that goal, until it becomes normalized. But what we do is we go in our journals and we're like, I want to be a YouTuber, and I want a dream relationship, and I want these things, and we write it for a few days, and then we go about our day going right back to the old version of us. Do not let up until it becomes normalized. Now, I think people get kind of annoyed with this and feel tired when this happens sometimes, and I get it. Hitting your goals or manifesting, sometimes it takes some work, is because it feels like it's never ending. It feels like a lot of work to change your mindset around something or continue to show up. But understand, you're not always going to need to show up in that capacity. You'll have to change, and you'll have to adapt, and you'll have new seasons of life where you got to do new things. But you're just showing up, and you're having tunnel vision on that goal until it becomes normalized in your life, where when you wake up, that's the version of you automatically playing in your mind, where you don't have to deter your mindset back to positive thoughts because it's already automatic. Okay? That's really what happens when it comes to even how to love yourself, how to have confidence with yourself. Everyone's always asking me about that. Always asking me, how do you have confidence? How do you trust yourself? How do you speak to yourself kindly? My affirmations aren't working. You have 100 million thousand thoughts a day that you run autopilot on. And if you're just going to do a journal practice for 10 minutes in the morning, I am lovable, I am amazing, I'm grateful for everything that I have, I'm changing my life, money is coming to me, whatever the affirmations are, and you're expecting those to be your reality, your automatic thoughts from 10 minutes of work, but you're going right back to the old version of you the entire day. Do you not really? Come on, listen. We got to do better. We have to commit, and we have to commit to saturating our minds, essentially. And I talk about saturating your mind a lot. This is what I have been doing for years. It's what I always do. It's what I continue to do, especially when I want something in my life. But even if I'm running on autopilot, there's things that I listen to, there's things and habits that I do, there's ways that I speak to myself that are this base level of where I want to feel and be in my life. So I'm not consuming content that's going to make me second guess myself. I'm not having conversations with people where I'm second guessing myself. I'm not doing behaviors over and over and over and over again that are not aligned to the version of me that I want. I'm not really doing that. And if I want to manifest something that's even bigger than where I'm at right now, I know it's going to take a level of effort. It's going to take a level of me showing up every single day until that becomes an automatic thought of, yes, I'm this big YouTuber, or yes, I'm this whatever. When I grew on YouTube, I didn't stop until I became a YouTuber. I really became a YouTuber in my mind before that even happened. Like, I already declared it. It was already done. It was about seeing that become normalized in my 3D reality. So when you're trying to hit goals, think about saturation, think about really driving it home until it becomes normalized. Now, piggybacking off of what I just said about declaring and focusing, there's duality in everything, okay? And the next thing is not to rush your process and your growth. This is like the biggest thing I think that we as humans probably have to learn is the balance between focusing and attaching and having tunnel vision towards our goals, but also knowing when we're hyper fixating and we're so attached to that outcome to the point where we're also like pushing it energetically away, or we're not allowing ourselves or the universe enough time to have it all figured out. And I even made this TikTok the other day about how, you know, when people say, or even our parents probably have taught us this thing where it's like when you are baking, let's say you're baking chicken in the oven, okay? You don't want to keep opening the oven every 3 seconds to see if it's done. You say you want your baked chicken, you put it in the oven forever how long it needs. Sometimes it may need longer, who knows? You're just putting it in there until it is cooked, okay? And you're not going to open the oven until it's done. But what we do when we declare something, we say, okay, I want to become a YouTuber. And then, you know, we just like sit here and like, yeah, maybe we like make the YouTube video or this, that. And then we're checking the views every 3 seconds, and we're checking and we're checking and we're checking and we're checking. And then we're changing and we're, you know, rebranding and we're doing these things and we're not trusting. We're opening the oven every 3 seconds. We're opening the oven. And it's taking longer. It's taking longer for you to get what you want in your life because you do not trust. And I've said this before as well when it comes to manifesting. If you believe in this, you believe in the universe, this, that, like the universe is always moving mountains. As soon as you declare something, you say, this is exactly what I want in my life. Universe says, amazing, done. I'm going to go work on that. You go over here and do whatever you need to do. Stay in alignment with this version of you. Don't worry. It's coming into your 3D reality. It's not there yet though. Okay. So we put that out into the world, and the universe, let's say, needs to move a freaking mountain for us. It's going to move a mountain for us. It's going to move the mountain from A to B. But we get so damn impatient that when the universe is moving the mountain from A to B, it's a little bit messy, right? Things aren't really, that doesn't look like that's where I'm, you know, the universe will bring you people that doesn't really seem like it's happening, or this thing is falling off, or like you're not getting the views over here, or something's not really like making sense. And we get so triggered. We're like, oh my God, see, it's not happening. Oh my God, see, it's not happening. And then you're not trusting, and you go back on your word, or then you change your desires, or, you know, you have a fit and you stress out and you stress yourself out and you create all this chaos from simply not trusting that the universe is moving your mountain from A to B. Let it be. So when you see that little bit of a mess in the middle, don't mess with it. Trust that it is coming. And I always say this to myself. I really always say this to myself. And it's almost like, sometimes I feel like it's a little bit psychotic. Sometimes like some of the, maybe it's because I've just been through so many hard times in my life and I just know what this process is. But when I see something that is very clearly the opposite of my manifestation, it's almost laughable to me. And when I mean laughable, it's like, this is so funny because I am getting exactly what I want in my life by the mere fact of this thing not working out. And you really need to think about it like this. If something is not working out in your favor right now, you are only one step closer for it to working out. You should only ever have that mindset. You just broke up with a guy, or a guy just broke up with you. Amazing. You're one step closer to your dream relationship. This opportunity didn't work out for you. And this happens sometimes with me when it comes to, not often, but sometimes maybe like a brand deal for some reason didn't work out or something, or it fell through, this, that, not happening. Okay, perfect. I'm about to get a brand deal that's 10 times better than that. That's what I have to tell myself. Is it delusional? No, it's not. It's not delusional to think in your favor. It is not delusional to believe in yourself. It is not delusional to believe that good things are on its way. It's not. You have just been so programmed by society, by negative people, by your own insecurities, that thinking positively is, ooh, I don't know if I should do that. Absolutely not. This is not going to be the summer where we are believing in our limiting beliefs. We're not going to do that. So bringing it back to not rushing, I want to read another quote from Pinterest. I posted this on my story last night, and it just, when you read some quotes and it just hits you in your nervous system and everything's just relaxed and you can just breathe. I hope this does this for you guys. So it says, reminder, what's yours will be yours. No need to rush. No need to feel anxious. All good things take time. And when it does come time, your heart will be so grateful. Give it time, rest your mind, and enjoy the present moment. This is something that is very potent in my current reality right now, which always tends to happen when you're really wanting to manifest something new in your life. You get really excited. You have these goals. You're inspired. You're ready to take action. And then sometimes, not all the time, but there's this waiting period. It's like, where's the manifestation? It's not coming. Where is it? This is the point where you really want to rest in this trust within yourself, because you're creating your own reality, and the universe, that it's coming. The chicken, it's cooking. Don't worry about it. Go do something else. And when I mean go do something else, don't rev up your nervous system and stress yourself out in another thing and rebrand your life. I mean, go live. Be in the present moment, especially when it comes to summer. Breathe. Like, where can you be right now in this present moment? Your feet should be on the ground right now. Breathe. We're so in our heads all of the time, especially the ones who are super into self-development, goals, manifesting, this, that. And there's a girl, her name is Melanie Layer, I think that's her last name. And she is the founder of Alpha Femme. And she has like a cool Instagram. She has a lot of cool courses, business related, self-love, feminine energy, things like that. I would definitely go check her out. And in some of her courses, she talks about having 1 foot in gratitude and 1 foot in desire. And I think that this is always something we should really be coming back to, is this quote. Really write it down. Honestly, I have it written down. Just when you are becoming aware that you're in your head, or you're checking, where's the manifestation? Why isn't it coming? You're stressing, you're acting out of scarcity, all this. 1 foot in desire, 1 foot in gratitude. Or you can say it the opposite way. Meaning, gratitude is bringing yourself into the present moment of what you have right now, okay? You're being grateful for everything you have, because you know what? You should. There's so many things in your life right now that you should be present with. And quite frankly, even when you get all your desires, if you don't know how to be grateful for the things that you have right now, it will feel like your desires are never here. I promise you that. And on top of that, the feeling that you are trying to feel from manifesting the things that you want in your life that you don't have yet, that feeling, you can actually access that feeling through gratitude right now. I know this to be true because when my life was a complete mess, I didn't have anything that I had now. My health was in the worst state it's ever been, living in a trap house. My whole entire family life, financial life, health life was an absolute mess. The thing that got me through it was not first manifesting my future and all the goals that I want to hit. The first thing was gratitude, because that was the thing that was keeping me alive. You know why? Because when you are grateful for the things that you have right now, you signal to your nervous system that I am okay. I am safe. There is no threat around me. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anything. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to find any answers. I don't have to fix any problems. I'm okay. I have everything that I need right now. And when you are in that state of rest and digest, that is when you can get in better alignment with the things that you truly desire in your life, putting your step in desire, I should say. And so I transform my life by first grounding myself in gratitude, and then thinking about, what is the life that I want out of a place of not being in fight or flight? Because the goals that you tend to have when you are consistently living in fight or flight, sometimes you can see it's out of survival, right? Like I think about the times when, yes, for sure, and I was never perfect, right? I had to learn this, but when I tried to manifest out of fight or flight, and this is not to say that you can't if you're going through hard times, obviously, but my goals were a lot different than the goals that I have now. The goals that I had were, they weren't aligned. It was like big lumps of money doing things that were not aligned for me, or surface level shit from relationships that weren't ever really going to make me feel good, but I just thought that was going to make me feel good because I just needed that. And I maybe want to give this example, and I don't want to offend people, because it's not to say that you don't want to look for, let's say, a man who can provide in terms of financial stability. But I found when I was younger, I definitely, when I was in survival mode and I didn't have money and I didn't have resources and I was really struggling, for sure, the top thing that I was kind of, I don't know, like amazed by, I cared about the most was, how much money does he have? Or like, will he be able to pay this thing? Or like, take me on this expensive date and this, that. And listen, to each their own, okay? Everyone has a standard. I still have my standards, absolutely. But I found the more I moved out of that fight or flight and I rested in that gratitude, so many things changed for my life, but also the quality of my relationships and the men that I was dating and the people that I was going to, spend my time around completely shifted. I focused on characteristics. I focused on morals and values. I stopped chasing these men who, they had money. Yeah, they had money, but they didn't care about me. They didn't even care about themselves. But I was following things that I thought that were going to make me safe based out of scarcity. So it's not to say that you can't look for safety outside of yourself, but I promise you the best thing you can do for yourself, especially as a woman, but for anyone, is to create that safety within yourself. How do you do that? Well, one foot in gratitude. What can you bring your awareness to that you already have, that you can signal to your nervous system that you are safe? And listen, there might not be a lot, okay? But I can't have people really convince me too much, and everyone's situation is different, but I can't have people convince me too much that there's not something they could be grateful for if they're sitting here listening to this podcast. I have so many journals of all the things that I was grateful for when I was younger. I remember I made a YouTube video and I read out some of my journal entries. It was just insane. I'm so happy that I kept those. In the back of my mind, when I'm thinking right now, some of the things that I was grateful for, I was grateful for my really shitty Mazda that barely worked, and I had such high interest on that thing, but I was so grateful for that Mazda for being able to get me to point A to B to get to work so I can make extra money, so I can get my ass out of the situation that I had. I was so grateful. I remember I was just so grateful for the fact that I had access to the internet, where I could learn so many things about health and wellness and healing and mindset and everything for free. Every day I was so grateful for that. And I think that sometimes we just forget that, right? Like we forget you have this wealth of knowledge online and you're sitting here like complaining about how life is so hard, or you don't have this or you don't have that. Dude, you have so many things at your fingertips if you just look, if you were just a little bit more focused on what you do have. And I get it. There are so many real stressors in your life that take you away from the things that you have in your life, but this is a practice of bringing yourself back. And honestly, this is a practice of remembering who you are and what you have. That is sometimes the hardest practice, but it's going to be the practice that changes your life. And I even think about the times where I really wanted to learn how to love myself more. And yes, there was things that I wanted to change, whether that was like physically, mentally, the way that I acted, everything in my life. But I became so hyper lovable. That's not the right word, but I just loved myself so much that I would just say, I'm so grateful for my smile, my beautiful smile. Even though I had a lot of work that I needed to get done on my teeth, I didn't like my gap. There was things that I wanted to get done. I was so grateful for my job, even though it wasn't the job of my dreams. I wasn't making that much money, but I was so grateful for the fact that I even had access to be able to sometimes pick up shifts. I had ulcerative colitis at that point, and I was still so grateful for my health. I was grateful for everything. So if you find yourself right now really in a place of annoyance with where your life is at, maybe you're just maybe you're just too like hyper focused on your desires. Bring yourself back to gratitude. And that's kind of where I'm at right now in my life, is bringing my awareness to not everything that I forgot, but sometimes we forget. And sometimes we forget when things get really good in our lives, right? I think that sometimes the people who are the most grateful are the people who have nothing. Because I will be honest and say, I was way more grateful in my life when I had nothing than I am today. And that's something that I want to keep going back to and reminding myself of. It's like, look at everything that you have. Your younger self worked so hard for the things that you have right now, and you're not even going to be grateful for that. It's funny how that works. Same thing when it comes to even money. It's like, you think that you'd be so much more happier when you get more money, or you'd spend it differently, or this, that, when really sometimes you think about your old self. At least for me, I'm like, sometimes I was better with my money when I had no money, or I was more grateful for my money when I didn't have money. So maybe this is also a reminder to you, if you have gotten a lot of things in your life and you're feeling a little bit bored in your life, or nothing's really making you feel anything. Because I feel like sometimes when you hit a certain level of success and you basically got everything that you want, yes, there's going to be a level of you for sure. There's going to be some sort of desire. You're always going to want something more. But if you're feeling this like emptiness, come back to gratitude. It will change your life. The next mindset shift that you need to have, if you don't already have this, is a limitless mindset. I think if we really want to have the things that we want, whether that is confidence, just have an amazing summer, manifest our dream lives, we need to believe it's possible. And we need to believe that we are going to come on top, and we need to believe that we can get and do whatever it is that we want in this life, okay? And I think that sometimes we just, again, we kind of forget who we are. We forget that we can have the things that we want in our lives, and maybe there's certain things in your life that has made you forget that, but this is not going to be the summer. Listen, let me read some Pinterest quotes once again, because we got a few, and I think that this is the truth of who you are. Okay, this is the truth of who you are. This is the truth of who I am, and this is things that I have to remind myself of. So this tweet, well, this is a Pinterest quote, but this tweet says, "You will always come out on top." And let me just stop this right here. And like, realistically, obviously you're going to come out on top. What are you going to do? Fail? I talk about this with my best friend Joey all the time. It's like, what is the other option? What is the other option? You're going to fail? You're going to give up? No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to give up. I know you. You're not going to give up. Anyways, this quote continues to go on and says, "It's in your nature to always have everything you want easily. You know those people that are considered just lucky by others? That's you. That's who you are at your core." And I really do think everyone who listens to this podcast, this is the truth of who you are. You always come out on top. If you're showing up all the time, even if you feel like you're failing over and over and over and over and over again, the truth of who you are is that you continue to show up. Even in the worst times of my life where I felt like I was in continuous cycles of self-sabotage, I knew to my core that I was still going to come out on top. I didn't know when. And God, some of those cycles were lengthy. And even when I had my nerve pain, and I write that in my book, or I wrote that in my book, I didn't know when I was going to get out of that. I didn't know what the answer was, but I knew that I was going to come out on top. What? I'm going to just not? Absolutely not. And then another one goes, "Your spirit will not allow you to fail. You already know this. This is why you continuously strive to be a better you, and why you keep getting a strong feeling to realize your potential. You can't even stop yourself. You were born to win in every situation. It's so natural." And think about that. You really can't stop yourself, can you? Even if you fall off a little bit, even if you stop doing your self-development, you stop listening to podcasts, or you stop having those conversations, or you stop reading your books, or you fall off your routines, what do? You end up coming back to it, right? You have this innate, there's this feeling, this desire within you to always go and level up and do the things that you desperately want in your life, even when everything in your life is telling you, no, you can't do it, or you're telling yourself, no, you can't do it, or nothing is working out. You will still, because that's you to your core. Okay? Coming back to that quote, 1 foot in desire, 1 foot in gratitude. You're going to go back and forth. Maybe you're going to move with both of them, kind of one step, the other really, really quickly, whatever it is. You will always have that desire to be a better version of you, or to show up, or to have something in your life. Do not forget that. Okay, the last thing, and it has less to do with a mindset shift. Maybe it does, but it's more to do with like body image, okay? And that is, I want you to prioritize having a healthy body over a hot body this summer, okay? The reason why I'm saying that is because, for one, I feel like body image is such a big thing during the summertime. We always are so hyper-focused on how we look, but I want you to hyper-focus on how you feel and are you healthy, okay? Because the way you feel and whether you're healthy or not, your body is going to be the byproduct of that, like a great body, okay? When I really started focusing on healing my nervous system and eating right and being consistent and really loving myself and showing up for myself, the fit body, the quote unquote hot body, it came as a result. Always. And I feel like we're always trying to get that result. But the truth is, when you try to get that result, it's not bad that you want the result, but at the end of the day, when you only try to do something, especially fitness and health, based off of that end result, what happens is you go back to the shitty behaviors when you either try to get that, or when you're waiting for the result and it's not coming, you fall off. Okay, so there's this quote, once again, that I want to read to you guys. And I think that this is just a reminder for you when it comes to being on any sort of health and wellness journey throughout the summer. So it says, in theory, consistency is about being disciplined, determined, and unwavering. In practice, consistency is about being adaptable. Don't have much time? Scale it down. Don't have much energy? Do the easiest version. Find different ways to show up depending on the circumstances. Let your habits change shape to meet the demands of the day. Adaptability is the new way of consistency. And you know what? Maybe there's going to be some disciplined girlies who might have some pushback with this. And I can see how a lot of people have the argument of, you can't rely on motivation, and if you just let yourself just feel however you want to feel every single day, then you're not going to get anything done, this, that. But I'm talking to the ones who have lived life in overdrive of consistent, failed, really hard discipline that has not really resulted in anything in your life. And that has been me, okay? So I have learned the skill of adapting, and it has changed the entire course of my life, especially when it comes to health and fitness. I used to be a very strict perfectionist. I had an eating disorder. I had many unhealthy behaviors when it came to fitness and health, okay? And being somebody who tried to do the same thing every single day on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis did not work. Why? Many reasons. Okay, let me list a few. First of all, it was maybe the season of my life. Especially like going through your 20s. Oh my God, there's so many stressors of life, right? You're in, well, not high school, but you're graduating high school, and then you go into college, or you're in university. There's so many changes in your life. There's different friend groups that you have, or different environments that you're moving in. For me personally, I was working all the time, so I wasn't able to do these strict, hard routines the way that I really told myself that I should. I had an emotional connection to food that was really hard for me to stop eating the way that I was eating, and I needed to do a lot of deep healing, which I didn't address. So it was really hard for me to do these strict diets and these strict things. There's so many things. There were so many stressors in my life. This is not an excuse. It's just to say, what I needed in my life was not this disciplined, strict structure. You have to show up every single day, or you are bad, or you are wrong. I had to understand that there's just going to be some more days out of the week than not that I maybe had to give myself a little bit more time to sleep, and I had to adjust my schedule. Or even coming into the beautiful wisdom and knowledge of cycle syncing and understanding, as a woman, if you're not on hormonal birth control, you are going through 4 phases of your cycle every month. So your hormones are fluctuating, your energy levels are ebbing and flowing. This is not an excuse. This is not to be like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to just do anything. No. But it's adapting. It's being like, well, maybe I need to put the gas on a little bit, or I need to take it off a little bit, depending on where I'm at in my cycle. Maybe I'll capitalize on my energy, or maybe I need to rest a little bit. And when I do those types of behaviors, depending on the season of life, my energy, what's going on in my life, if it's winter, if it's summer, this, that, the motivation, everything, it's allowed me to get so good at my routines. And in turn, I continue to be consistent on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And that's how I've gotten beautiful results in my life. Even when it comes to my mindset, even when it comes to work, anything, the skill of being able to adapt and knowing your own rhythms, because everyone is different. Every single person is different. You're going to have a unique way that you need to do things, unique way of, going to the gym, eating a certain way, where your energy levels are, everything. And I promise you, it will change your life. And it takes a while to know yourself. This is going to be the summer where you are going to know yourself. You are going to understand your rhythm of your body, whether you're cycle syncing or not, but getting clear on, when you're feeling the most energized or when you're not, or how you're feeling, being real with yourself, emotionally releasing in the times that maybe you need to, being with your inner child, knowing your worth, declaring what is yours in your life and going exactly for it. When you do these things, when you change your mindset like this in this episode, that's when magic will happen. We are not waiting for magic to happen. Okay, we are going to create it in a beautiful, aligned way that is unique, that is ours. Every single person can create magic. You just need to know that you can do that by reminding yourself first that you can do that. Do not wait for that magic to be made. I promise you, you'll be waiting a long time. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Please let me know if you enjoyed it. I don't know what I have for next week's episode. I feel like I could do a recap episode, but let me know in the comments on YouTube if you're watching what you would like to see next. If anything, if you want me to expand on anything. There's a few topics that are brewing within me, but I'm not fully there yet with being able to bring that to you guys. So I would like to hear some feedback so that I can have my intuition lead me exactly where I need. And I need some like soundboarding. So let me know in the comments. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, well, actually on Spotify, you can let me know what you liked. And of course, you can answer that question. Make sure that you're following, subscribing, whatever. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Bye.